Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician. And if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Catherine is at a point of desperation. She wants to undergo ECT, popularly known as shock therapy, to overcome her insomnia. While communicating with her, I learned that she goes to bed around 9 or 10 p.m., gets out of bed around 9 in the morning. Hearing that, I feel there's something that she may want to consider before trying ECT or any other treatment for insomnia. Nice having you back here. Hope you're doing really well. And if you're new to the channel, then a big welcome to you, of course. I wasn't planning to do a second video today, but I felt like I really wanted to, and I think you'll see why as we read some comments. And this is all, again, my communication with Catherine here is all from episode 43. It is the episode on paradoxical insomnia. And if you're Ellen, then tomorrow, your email is a little bit more. There's some more things I want to go through there, so I need a little bit more time. Tomorrow, I promise it'll be out there. Now, before I go into this communication with Catherine, nothing here is medical advice to you, Catherine, or anybody else, but just want to, as always, just sharing general thoughts and advice that you have to decide if that's right for you or not. But that said, let's jump right in. So 7 hours ago, there was a comment again on episode 43 from Catherine. I've had total insomnia for over 4 months, along with dysphagia and trouble swallowing. Dysphagia is like, painful swallowing, and whole body paresthesia. Paresthesia is typically like kind of tingling sensations like that. It was caused by a reaction by CBD oil and Flonase nasal spray, but it can't be proven. MRI and EEG came back negative. I'm going to try and get a sleep study to see if I get sleep at all. If it says I sleep, I still won't believe it, but then I'll be shown to have been diagnosed with paradoxical insomnia. I want to get ECT done if that's the cause. But my psychiatrist said no, and to get a second opinion. I'm so depressed and burst out crying. All hope I had flew out the window. I always want to die because I never sleep. I'm on 50 milligrams of Seroquel and still don't sleep. He wanted to increase my Seroquel again to 100 milligrams, but me and my mom were both like, no, because I didn't like how it made me feel. I never feel tired. I never sleep. I eventually dream, but I'm awake during all the dreams. I'm aware of everything. My family says they hear me snore, but I swear I do not sleep. That was 7 hours ago, and then I replied here, very sorry to hear that was happening, and asked her, how did you sleep before this started? And another question, have you tried using CBTI techniques? And then Catherine replied, I slept great before, 7 hours almost every night. Now I don't sleep at all. Yes, I've done talk therapy and none of it works. And it's not just insomnia, but the trouble swallowing and my whole body paresthesia. If I do have paradoxical insomnia, I want to undergo ECT, link attached. I believe it may be the only thing that works. I've done everything. I'm treatment resistant. And the link here was to a link of a case report that I've come across before, that a person that had this paradoxical insomnia, which by the way is when you sleep much more than you estimate sleeping. That person did well after ECT, but we don't know the details of the circumstances, and we don't know for how long that person did well, etc. Just pointing that out. Now, I replied to Catherine, I feel your frustration. I've come across that case report as well. Talk therapy is very different from CBTI. CBTI is not easy, but really works. Then I said, first of all, what have you tried? Also, let me know what time do you go to bed and get out of bed? And then Catherine replied, I go to bed 9 or 10 p.m. and get up at 9 a.m., but I never sleep that whole time. When I read that, I was like, I gotta talk to Catherine about this today, because I think there's something there we can do that could be really helpful. So first of all, I feel that it is helpful to talk about different types of insomnia, mainly paradoxical insomnia and psychophysiological insomnia. Briefly, paradoxical insomnia is when there's a big gap between how much somebody feels they sleep and how much they actually sleep. Typically, it's something like, somebody says they sleep 2 hours, but they actually sleep 5, or they feel like they sleep 3.5, they actually sleep 7, like a big gap like that. Psychophysiological insomnia is the most common form of insomnia, I would say, where there's a stressful event after which you become very worried about sleep, concerned, and that worry and concern actually feeds the insomnia. But a lot of people actually are moving towards not talking about different types of insomnia, just calling everything chronic insomnia, and I understand that as well, because almost everyone with psychophysiological insomnia have some degree of paradoxical insomnia. You know, almost everyone with insomnia underestimates how much they sleep, and almost everyone with paradoxical insomnia do have a trigger. They are also worried about their sleep, so there's a lot of overlap. And why I say that is actually both respond very well to CBTI, and CBTI not at all the same thing as talk therapy. CBTI is everything I talk about this in this channel, and if you're new or not so familiar with it, there are a couple of techniques, like it's kind of very hands-on, very specific techniques that you do to sleep better. And the key technique is called bedtime restriction. Now, before I get to that, in your case, Catherine, you know, what you're doing is what most people with insomnia do. Like, you can't sleep, you're not getting enough sleep, so you like cast a wider net, meaning you go to bed earlier, make sure you get enough time to sleep. That typically backfires. What happens is you end up in this super superficial sleep where you're hyper vigilant, you're aware of everything that's going on, and it literally feels like you don't sleep at all. And you know, the reason I didn't make a comment about this was that I feel like I'll need to convince you to, you know, consider this as an experiment, meaning consider the following: that a couple of months ago you slept about 7 hours, right? And from my standpoint, looking at, you know, what you describe here, you're the same person. You know, nothing has really changed, I believe. And so where I'm going towards is, how about an experiment where you just spend 7 hours in bed? That's exactly how much you slept before. So you're actually not restricting your sleep, you know, you're just restricting your time in bed. And what this may accomplish is that, you know, instead of having like super fragmented, a little bit sleep here and there, very superficial sleep that feels like nothing, you may have a little bit deeper sleep, so you can actually feel that you're sleeping. And this is the key, you know, technique used in CBTI, and it's often really helpful. I can, if you're kind of skeptical and you're telling me like, no, I know I don't sleep at all, why would that help? I understand that, but you know, maybe consider it, like just as an experiment. Like, go to bed, let's say 11, get up at 6, and try it for, let's say, 2 weeks, and just see what happens. You know, be open-minded. And if you have any like follow-up questions, like please ask me. But I thought about this as like, this could be a great first step towards sleeping better, and maybe, just maybe, you will not need, you know, ECT or another treatment. Just something to consider. But I hope this was helpful to you, Catherine, and please you know, leave another comment or email me, daniel@insomniainsight.co, if you have any questions. And if anybody else has any question, by the way, please send me an email. I will be back tomorrow, and until then, take it easy.